So there's a new IndyCar team joining the grid in 2025, and that's Prema Racing. Now, I've done a few videos in the past covering the team and what they're doing and the possible drivers that they're connected to. And I want to make another updated video because there is an article from racer.com that kind of goes over what Prema is doing to build their team, build their organization to have a competitive program in IndyCar in 2025. Now, it's been stated by Prema in the last video and the last articles that I covered that they want to be competitive from day one, right? They want to be able to enter and really start fighting for championships, because if you don't know about anything about Prema Racing, I mean, they have, they're in F2, F3, F4. They were in European Le Mans Series. They are technically in the World Endurance Championship, but as a support program with Iron Lynx with the Lamborghini SC63. So it's not like they're not running, it's not their program primarily running the car, but they are in partnership, I believe, with Iron Lynx. So they have a lot of programs going on. And if you look at their driver list of history at F2, they have a pretty big pedigree in terms of the names that have gone through that program. To name a few would be Charles Leclerc, Nick DeVries, Mick Schumacher, Oscar Piastri, Oliver Bearman, Kimi Antonelli, and that's just a few of the F2 drivers. If you look at their other series, they have some big names. They're in partnership where they work with other big teams, big brands that are in competitive racing. So Prema Racing knows how to be competitive. They know how to run an organization, and they really want to do well in IndyCar. Now, as you'll see here in a bit, there is a lot of drivers. There's a lot of drivers that are trying to get in this seat because Prema Racing has the resources, has the funding, has a team, has the infrastructure, has the experience to really develop a good organization, a competitive organization, to really go out there and fight for wins. And IndyCar fight against the top 3, top 4 of Team Penske, Chip Ganassi, Andretti, and McLaren. So, you know, there's been talks of, and these are all just rumors, of maybe Alexander Rossi or Logan Sargent being one of those seats. And you'll see, like, this is why, because they are going to be competitive. Now, they've also said clear cut where, yes, we are talking to a bunch of people. Like, yes, we've talked to Logan. Yes, Alexander Rossi's out there, but like everyone is trying to get the seat. And they were saying when they were at, I think it was Le Mans, where like every few steps, like they would be approached by someone trying to get in conversation, like, hey, like what's going on with that seat. So right now their focus is to first build the back end infrastructure, and towards the end, they'll see who's a good fit. They've stated that they want one experienced American driver that's been in the IndyCar series. That way they can help tailor and navigate what it is to be in IndyCar and help, and, you know, just navigate through what it is to be in IndyCar. And then they want one of their drivers to come to IndyCar, whether that's, you know, someone that's in F2, someone that's in WEC, someone that's whatever, but they want someone from their ranks to come up. Now, again, they've said that they want an American infrastructure, but obviously gonna add the razzle-dazzle of Prema Racing to be competitive. And it really seems that they're really building their thing here in America to really be competitive. If we go to the article right here, it said, and we'll go over a few things. I'll link the article down below for you to read. Really good article. And it just kind of shows like what goes into having a team in IndyCar. Yes, it's a spec series. Yes, all of them run just about the same thing, but there's still a lot you can do on your team side to really prep the vehicle to make sure it's as competitive as it can be. So it says Prema Racing has ordered 5 brand new Dallara DW12s. Its first spare parts order was in the 7 figures. A vast space in Indianapolis is undergoing a complete renovation and conversion into the team's new shop. Multiple tractors and trailers have been ordered to house the team and serve its mobile base through the next year's 17 race calendar. And this is why motorsports is all about money. This is why you need drivers to bring money. Yes, you want them to be talented, but if they could bring some sponsorship money, if they have deep pockets from their family's business or their dad has just has money, this is why you need money. Before you can even start to do anything, you're investing millions of dollars in cars, in the location, the building itself, before you even get to racing or the teams or the staff. Like it's a very, very, very expensive thing to do. So you look at what Piers Phillips, hopefully I said that right, he is the CEO of the IndyCar team for Prema, and he said you can look at how any top line IndyCar team operates currently, and you look at the cadence of the race event, and we possibly could have done 6 cars, but 5 was the minimum that we needed. So they ordered 5 cars, and he explains to say, so each entry has an oval and a road course car, because there's a huge amount of work and love and attention that goes into the speedway cars as well as the road course cars. Now, that's something that separates IndyCar from literally any other open wheel series, or series at that, minus NASCAR or American side, because they do road courses, street courses, and ovals. And within ovals, you have both super speedways and then you have short ovals. Now, it says we wanted to make sure that we had both drivers covered with a primary and a spare car, and then also have a fifth chassis. That way we can use any sort of testing, rig testing, damper testing, aero testing, without jeopardizing or interfering with the actual race cars. You look at the schedule and you look at the grueling stretch that there is in the middle of the season, and we want to give our guys and girls the best opportunity to produce the best race cars on track. So again, they're not getting just one car and say, hey, we'll run. Like, they want to make sure they have enough cars, enough everything to say, hey, we're going to develop winning race cars here. And again, that's why, like, yes, it's a spec series, and you know, everyone is technically working with all the same parts, but there still goes a lot into what you can do as a team, as engineers, as whatever, to make sure like you're giving your driver the best vehicle, the best car to perform best on track. So here's just another example of what Philip says of, so we ordered cars, trucks, spare gearbox orders, hybrid orders, pretty much everything we need to go racing. We ordered many months ago in an effort to make sure we were ahead of that. And it's not just the bits you put on the car and put in the back of the truck. It's the infrastructure at the shop as well. It's your IT system, your machine shop, your fab shop equipment, assembly stuff. Literally every last piece of equipment, right down to our in-house gym, is what we had to organize. And because we're an Italian team, we also had to get the best espresso machine available. And Phillips goes on to say, we've looked at the challenge as well, because that's the other thing you need for a driver to take this team to the top. You've got to look at the right individuals to be able to be part of that journey and help lead the organization right to the very top. And what I call the top is a consistent championship team. Again, like, they want to go and battle out for championships. They don't want to be a back marker team and kind of fight in mid pack. They want to go out there and start competing and start winning and start being at the heels to the top four in IndyCar. It's easy to be fast, but sometimes it takes a different makeup of personality and talent to be part of that journey. And then going to like how popular this opportunity is, and people want to get in on this. It says here, it says, so we've looked internally in Prema's ladder categories. We've looked externally in Europe. We've obviously analyzed who's available here in the States, and in due course, things will start to firm up. We'll make our decisions. And this is what they said in the last article. So we're not rushing to find a driver. It's not our priority. That's not our main task. Our main task right now is to get everything else in place with the teams, the building, the equipment, the engineers, the infrastructure, the back end of everything. And at the end, we'll see who is the best driver to help us get to the top. It says here, but it's very interesting because there's so much talent available at the moment. I couldn't tell you how many people Rene has spoken to. I know my phone is constantly going. Him and I were in Le Mans recently, and he couldn't walk 10 yards down the paddock without getting stopped by somebody who was interested. I mean, this person, people are going to be reaching out to him, possible F2 champions, their ladder series, whether it's, people that are exiting F1 like Logan Sargent, maybe, even Valtteri Bottas was linked to IndyCar if he doesn't get a seat at Williams. So there is a lot of people trying to get this seat for obvious reasons. It's very flattering to have that sort of interest, but there's a process to this to identify the best candidates in the seats moving forward. So I'm very excited to see Prema racing in IndyCar next year. I mean, when people talk about IndyCar, they talk about how competitive it is, and it's the best racing that we have right now because, it's a spec series and more of the drivers have to drive closer together. But, I made another video on this where if you look at who consistently wins, it's a handful of drivers, and those handful of drivers are from the same three teams, which is Team Penske, Chip Ganassi, and Andretti Global. Yeah, McLaren has a few wins, but they're not really considered like a top three team. They are considered a big four team because they have the funding and the resources, and it's McLaren, but they're not out there winning like the other three teams that are doing. So to see another competitive team with a high pedigree that's a very high level team from Europe coming over to America, it'd be cool to see that they enter and they're going to be competing and be competitive to get podiums, to get poles, to go out and get the championship. That would be really, really good to see. I have my favorite drivers in IndyCar. I like seeing certain teams win, but I also like seeing other drivers win. Like if Joseph Newgarden, gets P4 and a Grosjean or a Lundgaard or a Rosenquist or a Malukas gets P3, I'm happy about that because I also like to see the shakeup of drivers and standings and winners like really change and evolve, especially to the midfield team. Like I think that's really cool to see. So let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Are you excited to see who do you think will get the seats at Prema Racing? I'd love to hear your opinion, and I'll talk to you on the next one.